Hello, friends. Welcome to the Awakening Show. Today's show is unique because we have a great saint, Acharya Chetan ji, with us. You will be amazed that Acharya Chetan ji has not had food for over 10 years. Yes, you heard it right. He has not eaten any food in the last 10 years. You may wonder how a person can live without food for such a long time, more than a decade. We hear there were such saints in the past and perhaps even now who practice such extreme austerity but lived in isolation in the Himalayas. Acharya Chetan ji lives at Oshodhara Nanak Dham Mandir, Murtal Ashram, and is engaged in the service of our beloved Samarth Guru Siddhartha Olya. Acharya Chetanji was born in Ahmednagar district of Gujarat and studied civil engineering. Education is about earning and livelihood, but his quest was to seek the Almighty. And we know that such seeking sometimes not only starts in this life but continues from past lives too. Acharya Chetanji started his quest in childhood, became interested in spirituality, started studying scriptures, and was very impressed with Swami Vivekananda ji. At age 12, he found Osho's book and was influenced by Osho in 1991. He joined Osho's Neo Sannyasi program and began his spiritual practice. Then, after 2000, he met our Samarth Guru Siddhartha Olya, and he changed even more when he followed Samarth Guru's instructions on scientific spiritualism, which is made up of Dhyan, Samadhi, Pragya, and Sumiran. On February 27, 2004, he attained enlightenment, which seekers attain after several years, if not lives, of deep meditation, according to our scriptures. Samarth Guru suggested that Acharya Chetanji share his deep knowledge in this area with those who come to Oshodhara to learn about the different Dhyan, Samadhi, Pragya, and Sumiran program. Today, many seekers from all over the world are benefiting from his knowledge. 2 years ago, I requested Acharya ji to give an interview. However, it could not happen due to his vow of silence. He only breaks it when our beloved Samarth Guru asks Acharya Chetan ji to teach the seekers who come to Oshodhara. Since he was not speaking at that time, he wrote in his notebook and shared it with me that it would undoubtedly happen, not today, but some other day. I have always wanted him to give me this chance because he is a genuine Mahapurush. I wanted to bring his unbelievable achievements to the world to light and showcase his discipline, dedication, and quest to become enlightened. Acharya Chetanji, I wholeheartedly welcome you to this program, and I would like to thank Samartha Gurudev also for providing me with this incredible opportunity. During childhood, it's natural to play and have fun with other children, work hard and study hard to become a doctor or an engineer. Of course, you also studied to be a civil engineer. However, in your early days, what inspired you to go towards a spiritual life? The first reason behind my interest in spiritualism was due to the environment in my family, particularly my mother, who was always deeply interested in spiritualism. The second reason for that, there was never any restriction from my family. There was freedom, and my parents always encouraged me to do what my heart wanted. There was no pressure from the family. My mother was an ardent devotee of Lord Krishna, and observing her sparked my interest, and it grew over time. I also had a grandfather who was with the Arya Samaj. So the freedom and inspiration, mainly from my mother's interest in spiritualism, directed me towards spiritualism. Very beautiful. This quest comes from past lives. When you're born into a family with this spiritual environment, it is truly a wonderful thing. Many parents are still determining if their children should follow the path of spiritualism at an early age. They say, well, you may leave home and become a sannyasi. Parents do mention such things. You're fortunate that the Almighty placed your birth in a spiritual family. You had started listening and reading about saints in your childhood. You started reading Vivekananda ji's literature, and then you were were influenced by Osho when you started reading his works. You were observing many saints and listening to them. However, I would like to know what was so fascinating about Osho that made you particularly attracted to his teachings. As I mentioned, the spiritual environment in my home, also in my childhood, when I learned how to read, I started reading spiritual books. Then, when I went to a boarding school, a hostel, in the fourth class for the first time, I saw a photograph of Ramakrishna Paramahamsa and Vivekananda together. And since then, I felt a divine love for them. In our hostel, we had an extensive library. Even in the school, we had a large library. I don't know why, but even in my childhood, reading books was a passionate hobby of mine. Once, in a newspaper, I read an article by Param Guru Osho. I have no idea why, but after that, I became his divana, an enthusiastic lover of his wisdom. If you know what I mean, Osho is the one who pulled me towards him, and since then, I started anticipating the arrival of his next article. It used to come every Thursday. Acharya Rajneesh Osho, whatever you may say, when I used to read his writings, I always felt his divine love for him. After that, I started looking for his books, and wherever I found his books, I would read them, and just like that, my love for him gradually grew. I was young. I did not know if I ever would get to see him or contact him. And yet the opportunity for his darshan, and gradually as I kept reading his works, and for the very first time when I saw his image, I was in 10th class. At that time, I hadn't seen his image until such time. And as soon as I saw his photo, it was an incredible moment. For me, it was, you may say, Bhagavan, or the entire universe. For a moment, I kept looking at his image and was in a pleasant mental void. One day, I was in 12th class and got cassettes of his recording. I heard his voice and I felt the same incredible vibes that I felt when I saw his image for the first time. I had this feeling, what am I listening to? This is incredible. Very beautiful, Acharya Chetanji. You mentioned that when you were in fourth class, you got the opportunity to read one of Osho's articles, and after reading the article, you had such an incredibly inspirational feeling. And after that, when you saw his image, you experienced such divine love for Osho. Whenever I ask my friends who have followed this path, who are veterans in this area of spiritualism, they all said that whenever they came across Osho's article or image for the first time, they felt the same. What was the magic in Osho? What magnetic quality in Osho drew millions of people towards him and his teaching? You had the same feeling, and I'm sure many of Osho's followers did feel the same way. I would like to know Osho's fundamental teaching to uplift humanity. What do you think? Osho has taught all of us a lot. He has been positively prolific. There are more than 650 books of Osho. What is the core of Osho's teachings? The core of Osho's teachings. Many saints have said this. Earth, this whole earth should be a family. This is the most important context of Osho's teaching. People should live with unconditional love and celebrate life. This is what I believe Osho wished or wanted. This was the fundamental basis of his belief and teachings. Acharya ji, you've said it beautifully. Our Sanatan culture says Vasudeva Kutumbakam. And Osho says the same thing, that we can break the boundaries we have created with love. And this is the core of Osho's teaching. Now, I would like to know how, if at all, our beloved Samarth Guru Siddharth Olia differs in various ways from Osho. For instance, he believes in deities and their prevalence. Many a time, Osho has said that avoid getting stuck on prayers and chants. So, Samarth Guru is not only an inheritor of Osho's ways, but is also the living master, an extension of Osho, if you will. But at times, he's also on the opposite side of the fence. What is your opinion on this subject? Param Guru's views and beliefs are not different from our Samarth Guru's opinions and experiences. It may be an instance of views and opinions changing due to the passing of time. However, when there is an agreement between us, there is no question of dissonance. Please understand that our Param Guru has never opposed deities in any form. Yes, I agree that we get stuck or jammed in the worship of deities, and he has opposed the getting stuck aspect, like worshipping idols. Param Guru has not opposed this practice, but has undoubtedly said that don't get stuck in idol worship because we have to know and understand what is inside us, the truth within us, our eternal form. We have to know and understand the everlasting self. Param Guru says idol worship is a stage, an encampment. Deities are also our associates at a step in our spiritual journey. Param Guru even mentioned this when he also talked about pilgrimages and idols. However, as humans, we stop wherever we think we will profit, or when we like a place, we get stuck. In other words, wherever the mind finds refuge, entertainment, and fun, we get stuck there. However, when you talk of what goes on inside, or the main context of what is being revealed internally, it is meditation. And he spoke about the fundamentals of meditation. He has talked about samadhi, he has talked about enlightenment, and also what is beyond enlightenment. Our Samarth Guru is saying the same thing. Our Param Guru has spoken about samadhi too. When at the beginning, when Samarth Guru used to organize a 10-day camp or a program where he used to suggest the practice of samadhi, but people did not catch on or felt the urgent need to understand his teachings and instructions. So Param Guru said, I will try the same thing and see what happens. Then he provided some methods of samadhi, but concluded and said, this was not samadhi. Samadhi comes after this stage. Then our Samarth Guru also started changing things after that incident. What our Param Guru was pointing at was is the actual samadhi, dhyan. Then our Samarth Guru talked about samadhi is, what samadhi is. Then he spoke about what sambodhi is, enlightenment is, which various seekers went through their experience of samadhi and beyond samadhi too. So whatever our Param Guru told, our Samarth Guru brought this to our attention with his expertise. So there is no difference of opinion between our Param Guru and our Samarth Guru. Their views are interconnected, flowing like a stream and moving toward the next steps. You have presented it very beautifully. Param Guru was not against idol worship, but he, in fact, said that don't get stuck at that stage. Keep moving towards dhyan and samadhi. And Osho discussed a lot about samadhi. He pointed us towards that goal, and he had less time too. He got only 59 years, out of which he did not talk for several years and had taken a vow of silence for 3 years in America. I want to tell my viewers that, and according to our Param Guru's direction, our Samarth Guru is following that and making seekers practice those programs beautifully, Acharya ji. Now, there is another question our viewers are curious about, and when they hear this, they are amazed. Is it possible for any human to survive without eating for the last 10 years? It is no less than seven wonders of the world. You have not had any food for the previous 10 years? How and where do you get your energy from? You may look at it that it's grace of the Almighty, or in existence there are many such examples and incidents where there is no need of natural food. trees do not get their nourishment directly. They make their food from the energy of sunlight. So we can also live like that. I am in front of you, and you can see it's possible. I do not eat, but occasionally I drink water and tea. I have not eaten for 10 years, but it's possibly my unique experience. Many people would like to practice what you do or other variations of it. So, do you suggest that people practice living without food? Or should they be careful and do it under the guidance of a guru? What do you suggest? What happened with me is that we had a guru in Bhavanagar called Mastarama Bapu. He did not eat food. I had seen him since childhood when I was studying in 11th class. I'd seen him for the first time. Our Param Guru also talked about this. Then in Rajasthan, three Rajputana women lived without eating any food. So I also pledged and tried to dedicate myself to this cause with discipline. I used to spend a lot of time in the sunlight. I would do a bit of tratak, gazing at a single point. Then doctors told me that my eyes were suffering, so I gave it up. However, I had made this pledge that I would not eat. I thought to myself that the worst thing that could happen was that I would die. Before I stopped eating, my weight was 64 kg. So, after giving up food, I started losing weight gradually and my weight went below 40 kilograms. I had no energy in my body. Then one day, something incredible happened. Something from my Mooladhara raised itself, and I was fully refreshed. I was full of energy. I would say, in my opinion, that it was Samarth Guru's graciousness. I did not do anything special in terms of discipline and dedication. Whatever I started doing, I stopped doing because I was hurting myself. My skin had become black. I feel it was not due to my dedication. It was due to Samarth Guru's grace and blessings because I believe that whatever happens, my Guru's love and grace will always be there with me. However, if anyone can find someone who can truly guide them in this challenging process, then there is no problem in doing this. But I want to mention that many people may think this is a siddhi, an occult power gained by rigorous discipline. So people think it's a siddhi. I request and pray that instead of running after siddhi, they sit at the lotus feet of Samarth Guru and learn about it themselves, about their self, and who am I. Beautifully said, Acharya that people should not run after Siddhi, and this is like a prasad, a divine gift from the Almighty when you are dedicated and disciplined. This happens when you have the grace and love of Samarth Guru. You beautifully told us that in your childhood you were influenced by some saints, and then you made this pledge to yourself, such as when Gautama Buddha sat with a pledge that I will lose my life, so be it. I would like to attain supreme knowledge. I would like to tell my viewers that please don't enter into such hard penance. It's easier if you come to our Oshodhara, and Acharya Chetan ji will initiate you to move forward in meditation and samadhi. And Samarth Guru has such simple and practical methods of discipline and dedication in Oshodhara. Samarth Guru has such simple and accessible programs that start with Dhyan Samadhi, like what you do in nursery, and go all the way to PhD. And Acharya Chetan ji is an example of this tradition and transition. I would like to ask you, Acharya ji, we have so many programs in Oshodhara, right? Some friends say that you have 14 programs in Sumiran, 28 levels of other programs, and about 42 Pragya programs. Are you guys taking us on a circular path that keeps going round and round and never stops? This is what people believe. Now, let us say you are in first class, and then when you become a graduate, you have studied for 14, 15, or 16 years, even 20 years sometimes. The questions are not about programs. Samarth Guru is giving them to us sequentially. When we do Dhyan Samadhi, we learn about Omkar. So we know about Omkar. There is no discipline or dedication after knowing Omkar. It's a question of falling in love with it. So, how do we fall in love with Omkar? Then there are many dimensions, and if everything is given simultaneously, the mind cannot absorb it. If we are given everything simultaneously, we cannot do it. This is our Samarth Guru's kindness and generosity that he is taking us slowly through these programs sequentially. And if we are really interested in spiritualism and what we hear the saints say, or when we observe the saints, then we have to do it according to what Samarth Guru has given us or has programmed for us. I find it essential to go through this experience, and I suggest that you don't see this as a program, but as a sequential and disciplined way of accomplishing something. This is what I believe. That is beautifully said. One must take some time thinking about what is essential for them. If you start at nursery level, which is Dhyan Samadhi, that is essential for you. Even if Samarth Guru gives you all the programs, then as Acharya ji says, if we are given a 10,000 volt electric charge, we won't be able to tolerate it. That's why Samarth Guru has put a transformer in between, which releases the power slowly as needed, and we move forward in a sequence with a schedule. I wanted to know one more thing from you, Acharya ji. Many people say that for meditation, we do not need a guru. We can do it by ourselves. So, what do you feel? How important is it to be taught by a living master to move forward and progress in meditation? Definitely, with a Sadguru, progress on the spiritual path is possible. When discussing spiritualism, a Sadguru uses words that guide us. However, when we have to learn anything in the world, we need someone who teaches us. We may not call him a guru, but when anyone teaches us in person, it is easier to learn and you learn it better too. My experience says that just by reading and writing, you cannot learn as much as you can in the presence of a Sadguru. I am ready to learn, particularly when it comes to being a disciple. If you look at it from another point of view, no guru becomes a guru through his own efforts. When a disciple sits at a guru's feet, it's the guru's kindness and grace and generosity, and the guru is seen by the disciple as a Samarth Guru who's happy and content with himself. There is a place and position with him. To learn anything, one needs to be a disciple, and because of that, the Samarth Guru is needed and the Samarth Guru is seen. Very beautiful. When we feel thirsty, we accept someone as a guru. You said it very nicely. Even if we have to learn swimming, we need to make someone as a guru. Even to understand the alphabets, we need someone to teach us. The path of sadhana is an unknown journey, an inner journey, and we find a guru. But one has to be a Samarth Guru, because there are a lot of pretenders who call themselves guru. But it is your wisdom which will evaluate that. And you find the Samarth Guru when you have the grace of the Almighty in the end. I would like to ask you this last question. Can you provide 3 sutras of sadhana, please? I would say feel the thirst inside. If you don't have the urge, you may talk very well, but you will not do sadhana. First is the hunger from inside, and then only one can do the purushartha, will have the courage from within. So the first is abhipsa, strong intent, and the second is courage, purusharth, relentless courage, and the third, the correct guidance of the path from a Sadguru. The spiritual journey without a Sadguru's guidance is not possible. It is essential. So, first is abhipsa, strong intent, the second is purusharth, relentless courage, and the third is proper guidance from a Sadguru. Very beautifully said, Acharya ji. First is thirst, then work hard with steadiness and faith and continue that pursuit because it cannot be accomplished half heartedly. As they say, water evaporates only at 100 degrees centigrade. Similarly, the thirst should be overwhelming. And when you keep working hard with dedication under the guidance of a Samarth Guru, only then you can reach Paramatma. As Acharya Chetan ji has experienced, I welcome you to attend the programs in Oshodhara. And if you have enjoyed the show, please like, share, comment, and subscribe to The Awakening Show. Acharya Chetan ji, thank you for being here and giving your valuable time. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Acharya ji has taken a vow of silence and speaks only if Samarth Guru asks of him. Even today, he is here because our Samarth Guru asked him to do so, even when he has to conduct programs in Oshodhara. When Samarth Guru asks him, he breaks his vow of silence to do that. Once again, I would like to thank you from the bottom of my heart, Acharya ji. And I would like to thank the viewers too. Thank you for liking, sharing, and subscribing to The Awakening Show. We will meet again next week with another expert, saint, or a wise person. Keep watching this show. Thank you. I'm Acharya Amresh.